In the name of the warrior, I charge you to be brave. In the name of the Father, I charge you to be just. In the name of the Mother, I charge you to defend the innocent.
A knight's oath is a contract with the gods. 7 gods, 7 charges. Jaime Lannister just cut 4 of them out. And he didn't forget them. It's the night before the Battle of Winterfell. Every person in that room believes they'll be dead by sunrise. This isn't a fairy tale. It's a confession from a man who was destroyed by the very vows he's now rewriting. A correction of a 100-year-old fraud running through Brienne's own bloodline. And the exact moment that will eventually shatter her. Not because the knighting failed, but because it worked too well. It starts with a wildling. Tormund asks Brienne why she isn't a knight.
You're not the knight?
She explains.
Women can't be knights.
And Tormund, baffled by a system he has no loyalty to, asks the only question that matters.
Why not?
Tradition.
Fuck tradition.
The room goes quiet.
Any knight can make another knight.
That's the law. Jaime stands, draws his sword, and speaks an oath he has no intention of keeping whole.
Kneel, Lady Brienne.
The full oath of a Westerosi knight, the one documented through Ser Duncan the Tall in the books, requires 4 things. Obey the 7 gods. Defend the weak and the innocent. Serve your lord faithfully. Defend the realm with all your might. Jaime keeps 3 words: brave, just, innocent. He invokes only 3 gods: the warrior, the father, the mother. The smith, the maiden, the crone, the stranger. Gone. The vow to serve your lord faithfully. Gone. The vow to defend the realm. Gone. Most people stop here. They say it was trimmed for television, pacing, runtime. But what if I told you that every single word Jaime cuts is a word that destroyed his life?
You have forsaken every vow you ever took.
So many vows. They make you swear and swear. Defend the king, obey the king. Obey your father. Protect the innocent, defend the weak. And what if your father despises the king? What if the king massacres the innocent? It's too much.
That's the wound. Jaime's been screaming it at anyone who will listen since the day Catelyn Stark looked him in the eye and called him a man without honor.
You are a man without honor.
The vows contradict each other. Serve the king or protect the innocent, because you cannot do both when the king is hiding wildfire beneath a city of 500,000 people. Obey your lord or defend the realm, because those are opposite instructions when your lord is a madman with a torch. Jaime swore every oath. Jaime kept the only one that mattered. He killed the Mad King and saved a city, and the world called him Kingslayer for it. Not hero, not protector, Kingslayer, for 20 years. And the one act of mercy buried inside this entire knighting is that he refuses to do that to Brienne. He doesn't charge her to serve lords. He doesn't chain her to the institution of the faith. He gives her 3 moral imperatives and nothing else. Be brave, be just, protect the innocent. That's not an oath. That's an apology.
Arise, Brienne of Tarth, a knight of the 7 kingdoms.
And here's the detail that makes it unbearable. Listen to the last charge again.
In the name of the Mother, I charge you to defend the innocent.
That phrase, coming from this man, in this castle, is the most self-aware line in 8 seasons. This is the man who pushed Bran Stark out of a tower window. A child, an innocent. And now he stands in that child's home, pressing a blade to a woman's shoulder, commanding her to do the exact thing he failed at most catastrophically. He isn't just knighting her. He's putting his worst sin into words and handing it to the only person clean enough to carry it. Look at Jaime's face when he says,
"I charge you to defend the innocent."
That micro-pause before the last word, that flicker behind the eyes. He knows exactly what he's saying, and he knows exactly what it costs him to say it. That is not ceremony. That is absolution. If you're sitting there right now rethinking a scene you've watched a dozen times, that feeling is exactly why the like button exists. Hi, I'm Nick. You're watching Cynic Cults, and we're just getting started. To understand why Jaime is the one kneeling in this scene, emotionally, not physically, you need to go back to a forest, before Robert's Rebellion, before the White Cloak, before everything went wrong. When Jaime was 15, he rode into the Kingswood alongside his idol, Sir Arthur Dayne, the Sword of the Morning. They were hunting a band of outlaws called the Kingswood Brotherhood. The most dangerous among them was a psychopath known as the Smiling Knight, a madman who craved battle the way other men craved wine, a man who killed with joy on his face. During that battle, something legendary happened. Arthur Dayne dueled the Smiling Knight, broke the outlaw's sword clean in half, and instead of ending it, instead of taking the kill, Dayne stopped. Let the man fetch a new blade, out of pure, staggering honor. The Smiling Knight looked at Dayne's pale, glowing sword, Dawn, and said, "It's that white sword of yours I want." Dayne replied, "Then you shall have it, sir," and killed him. That moment carved itself into Jaime's soul. That was the knight he wanted to be. Arthur Dayne. Radiant, unbending, holy. But here's the line from the books that cracks the whole story open. Years later, after the Mad King, after the incest, after all of it, Jaime sits alone and thinks, that boy had wanted to be Sir Arthur Dayne, but someplace along the way he had become the Smiling Knight instead. He didn't become the hero. He became the villain of his own childhood. And the narrative proves it, because when Jaime duels Brienne in the Riverlands, he is performing the Smiling Knight. The manic laughter, the taunting, the mad, reckless joy of combat with zero discipline. He swings steel like it's a game, grinning through every clash. And Brienne? Rigid, unyielding, fighting with total discipline and zero ego. She's Arthur Dayne. The dialogue mirrors it. The rhythm of "Give me the sword" echoing through the trees carries the ghost of the Kingswood right into the Riverlands. Same energy, same dynamic. The corrupted outlaw taunting the incorruptible knight. So when Jaime stands in Winterfell years later and touches a blade to Brienne's shoulder, he's not just knighting her. He is finally stepping into Arthur Dayne's boots. The boy who dreamed of being the Sword of the Morning is, for the first time in his entire life, passing the light forward instead of corrupting it. He's not the Smiling Knight anymore. Not in this room. Not tonight. But this scene carries a ghost even older than Jaime's childhood, and it lives in Brienne's blood. George R.R. Martin confirmed publicly that Brienne of Tarth is the direct descendant of Ser Duncan the Tall, Dunk, the protagonist of the Tales of Dunk and Egg, the hero the prequel series is named after. And here is the secret the entire family is built on. Dunk was never knighted. His master, Sir Arlen of Pennytree, died of a chill before he could perform the ceremony. Dunk claimed the old man knighted him before dying, but the books make it devastatingly clear. That's a lie. Dunk's own internal thoughts betray him. He considers joining the City Watch. He hesitates at every turn. A freshly anointed knight doesn't think like that. He lied to enter a tournament. He lied to eat. And because of that lie, because Dunk knew in his bones he was a fraud, he spent the rest of his life overcompensating, being kinder than any real knight, braver, more selfless. He refused to knight anyone else, ever, because he couldn't bear the thought of spreading what he called a monstrous lie. The greatest knight in Westerosi history was built on a foundation of shame. Now look at Brienne. Freakishly tall, just like Dunk. Socially invisible, just like Dunk. Mocked by every highborn lord who crosses her path, just like Dunk. And in the books, Brienne remembers finding an old, battered shield in her father's armory. Painted on it, an elm tree and a falling star. That's Dunk's personal sigil. The one he invented when he created his false identity. The proof is hanging on the wall. And the episode where Jaime finally knights her? It's titled, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. The exact title of Dunk's book. That is not coincidence. That is the writers telling you, this is the payoff. 100 years in the making. Right here. This scene. Dunk was a fake knight who lived like a real one. Brienne was denied knighthood by her gender, but lived like a real one. A bloodline of imposters. People who were never officially what they clearly, obviously were, finally receives the real thing. Not from a lord, not from a king, from a disgraced knight seeking one last act of truth. Jaime doesn't just knight Brienne, he corrects a century. Jaime knighted Brienne with one tap of a blade. You can knight this video with one tap of a button. Hit hype. Help it reach the people who will actually understand why this scene matters. And then there are the swords. Because the two blades in that room are ghosts. Ned Stark's ancestral greatsword, Ice, was stolen by Tywin Lannister after Ned's execution and melted down. Reforged into two smaller blades, Oathkeeper and Widow's Wail. Jaime gave Oathkeeper to Brienne. He kept Widow's Wail. During the knighting, both swords are present in the room. Brienne grips Oathkeeper at her side. Jaime dubs her with Widow's Wail. Two halves of ice, Ned Stark's honor, Ned Stark's legacy, reuniting by the hearth at Winterfell on the eve of the apocalypse. This is Ned Stark's honor coming home. The Lannisters stole his blade, melted it, scattered it across the realm. And now, in his own castle, in front of his own hearth, that blade reforms to defend the North. They didn't destroy Stark honor, they carried it. And in this scene, without knowing it, they give it back. Jaime's story began by destroying a Stark child for love. His story peaks by elevating a Stark proxy, for love. Brienne, who carries Stark steel, wears Stark loyalty, and protects Stark children. The circle doesn't just close, it forgives. And there's one final layer, the one nobody talks about. Brienne's father holds an ancient title, the Evenstar. House Tarth's sigil is quartered sunbursts and crescent moons. Their home is Evenfall Hall. Everything about this house lives in the space between light and dark, dusk and dawn. The Evenstar, in our world, is another name for Venus. Venus is named after the goddess of beauty. Brienne's mocking nickname, Brienne the Beauty, an insult her entire life. Except it accidentally links her to the exact celestial body her house was always named for. And Venus has another name, the Morning Star, which in Latin is Lucifer, which translates literally to Lightbringer. Brienne's heritage, her bloodline, her title, it all linguistically points to one thing, Lightbringer. The weapon prophesied to end the long night. She was never just a knight, she was the dawn, and that is why the tears destroyed her. Brienne of Tarth spent her entire life inside armor. Not just steel, silence, stoicism, emotional concrete. Because when the world turns your name into a punchline, when beauty is the cruelest word anyone has ever pointed at you, you learn to stop feeling in public. You build a wall, brick by brick, insult by insult, year by year. Her devotion to Renly was safe, controlled. She served in his guard. She never let him see her. She worshipped from behind a visor. The armor stayed on. Then Jaime, the man who represented everything she despised, became the only person in the world who saw her clearly. Not the size, not the jaw, not the joke. He saw the knight. He saw the thing nobody in Westeros had ever been willing to name out loud. And when he draws his sword and tells her to kneel, watch her. She doesn't move immediately. There's a beat, a breath. Because every instinct she has is screaming that this is the setup to another joke, that she's about to kneel and the room will laugh. She kneels anyway.
Arise, Brienne of Tarth, a knight of the Seven Kingdoms.
That line takes the armor off, all of it. Every wall she spent a lifetime building collapses in a single sentence, and the room erupts. Tyrion, Podrick, Davos, Tormund, they applaud, they cheer. The vows, the witnesses, the firelight. It looks like a wedding. The woman who spent her entire life being publicly humiliated is, for the first time, publicly celebrated. Look at her face in that moment, that smile. She isn't smiling because she's happy. She's smiling because she's terrified. She just let someone all the way in, for the first time, completely. And that's why what comes next isn't a breakup.
She's hateful. And so am I.
When Jaime rides south, back to Cersei, back to the addiction, back to the destruction, Brienne doesn't cry because she lost a lover. She cries because she lost the only witness. The one human being who looked at her and said, "You are exactly what you always believed you were." And then that person walked out of the courtyard and told her, by leaving, that knowing her truth wasn't enough to make him stay. She didn't lose a man. She lost proof that she existed. The tears aren't romance. They're the death of the Arthurian ideal that two broken people built together by a fire on the longest night, and one of them burned it down the moment he walked away. That is why she cried. So here's my question for you, and I want you to sit with it. Did Jaime knight Brienne for her, or for himself? Was this the most selfless act in the entire series? A man rewriting the oath to protect someone he loves from the system that ruined him? Or was it one more Lannister using Brienne's purity to wash their own sins clean? Tell me. Drop it in the comments. I want to know where you land on this. This is the part where most channels beg you to subscribe. I'm not going to do that. But if this video made you see this scene differently, not as a fairy tale, not as fan service, but as something more honest and more devastating than both, then you already think like we do here. We're building an empire of people who watch a scene once for the story and 10 times for the truth. And if you're still here, you're already one of us. You know what to do. Jaime rewrote the sacred oath to protect Brienne from the institution that destroyed him. But there was one man who made that entire institution meaningless, who turned Jaime's sword, his name, and his golden cloak into a costume. The High Sparrow didn't outfight Jaime, he outplayed him. And the way he did it will make you rethink everything you thought you knew about power in Westeros. That video is right here. See you there. Until then, stay cult.